Today we're sharing our absolute favorite mini appetizers.
These are the ones your guests will be talking about on the way home.
These are tried and true bites that disappear every single time. I'm starting off today with these garlic bread deviled eggs. That's right, we took two great party foods and turned it into one. The crunch around the edge of these eggs takes this snack to a whole new level. First things first, the eggs. So these are already boiled, chilled, and shelled. Because let's be honest, no one wants to sit there and watch water boil on YouTube. I'm slicing these in half and popping the yolks into a bowl. Standard deviled egg procedure so far. But here's where things get really fun. Add 2 tablespoons of butter to a pan and let it melt. Then in go the breadcrumbs. Toast these for a couple of minutes. Then add 2 cloves of minced garlic. You want golden, not burnt. Burnt garlic is not good. Remove it from the heat, pour it into a bowl to cool, and toss in 2 tablespoons of chopped parsley. And you've got a vibrant garlic bread topping. The egg yolks get 3 tablespoons of mayo, 3 tablespoons of sour cream, a few dashes of hot sauce, and some salt to taste. Mix them, smash them, stir them until they're smooth. Then we're going to put them in a piping bag with a frosting tip or a plastic bag that you can snip the corner off of. And pipe the filling back into each of the egg halves. Now you can press the breadcrumbs around the edges of the egg. You might have to press them in to get them to stay. All right, these are done, and I'm already tempted to eat half of them. Laura, it's your turn.
I'm making Greek lamb meatballs. These are so tasty and a really fun way to eat meatballs. In your mixing bowl, add half a pound of ground lamb, 1/4 cup of breadcrumbs, 2 tablespoons grated onion, 2 cloves of minced garlic, 1 tablespoon of both parsley and mint, 1 teaspoon of oregano, and ½ teaspoon of both salt and pepper. Mix that up. Now let's form the meatballs. Not too tight, you want them to stay tender. These go into a 400-degree oven for about 18 to 20 minutes. While that's cooking, let's make the tzatziki. Grab a jar. You'll need ½ a cup of Greek yogurt, 1/4 of a cup of grated cucumber. Make sure you squeeze the water out of that first. 1 clove of minced garlic, 1 tablespoon of olive oil, 1 teaspoon of lemon juice, a teaspoon of chopped fresh dill, and some salt to taste. Shake that all up. That looks great. We're gonna let this chill in the fridge while the meatballs finish cooking. By the way, in case you want any of the recipes, you can find them in a link down in the description or on our website, A Food Lover's Kitchen, where we have tons of other recipes for you. For serving, you're gonna need some little pitas or naans. I found these at my grocery store and these are perfect. If you can't find these though, you can always make your own. Both of these are done, so let's get them plated up. Place a meatball on each pita. Spoon on some tzatziki and garnish with herbs. How easy was that? There are so many reasons to love these.
If you've ever found yourself totally addicted to Red Lobster's Cheddar Bay biscuits, we've got the next best thing for you right here. These are Cheddar Bay sausage balls. Start with 1 pound of ground breakfast sausage, the biscuit mix pouch, 1½ cups of cheddar cheese, 4 ounces of cream cheese, 1/2 cup of milk, and about half of that magical garlic herb packet from the box. Mix it until it all comes together. This dough is gonna be a thick dough, so don't worry, that's exactly what we want. Roll the sausage mix into 1-inch balls. Try to keep them even so they bake the same. I like to use a cookie scoop. Place them on a parchment-lined baking sheet and don't crowd them. Then they're ready to go into a 375-degree Fahrenheit oven for 20 to 25 minutes or until they're golden. When they come out, mix the rest of the seasoning packet with 3 tablespoons of melted butter and brush that on top. This is where the magic happens. Trust me, it's so good. These turned out perfectly. They're pillowy and absolutely packed with flavor.
You may have tried toasted bow tie pasta before, but probably not these. I'm making toasted tortellini, and these are dangerously snackable. Start out by blanching the tortellini just about 2 minutes in boiling water. Now drain them. And then dry them well. This helps everything stick. Now we're gonna make a breading station, but I promise we're gonna keep it neat. Put 2 large eggs, 1/4 of a cup of flour, and 1/2 teaspoon each of salt and pepper in one bowl. Mix that up. Then put the breadcrumbs, Parmesan cheese, and garlic powder in a bowl or a bag and shake it up. Now we're ready to get started with our breading. Dip them in the egg mixture. Then move them over to the breadcrumbs. And then put them on the tray. Spray them with a little bit of cooking oil and that will help them crisp up. Now bake them at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for about 18 minutes, and you're gonna wanna flip them over halfway so that they cook evenly. Serve them with marinara on the side.
Every party needs something fresh, and I just love these mini avocado toasts. And who says they're only for breakfast? In a bowl, go in with 2 ripe avocados, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of cumin, and 1 teaspoon of lemon juice. Mash it up, but keep it slightly chunky for texture. You're gonna need little toast. You can buy these at the grocery store, or you can take a regular piece of bread and cut it into 4. Mound up some of the avocado, then sprinkle on bacon bits and a little piece of cherry tomato. This is where the magic happens. We're sprinkling some everything bagel seasoning on top of each one. Seriously, this seasoning does all of the heavy lifting here. It's got so much flavor, but it also adds great crunch. You can even add some microgreens on top. It's important to note that these little beauties should be eaten right away because the avocado will start to brown. They're a fun and easy appetizer.
I had these pork belly crackers at a winery lunch once, and I couldn't wait to try them at home. They're elevated little bites, but still pretty easy to make. If you haven't cooked pork belly before, don't worry, it's not difficult, and you can get pork belly at almost any grocery store. I'm using rice crackers because they have a nice little crunch and they're loaded up with a slice of pork belly, some crisp, fresh salad, and a spicy sriracha mayo. These are delicious little umami bites, and they're just the right size to pop into your mouth. The salad keeps the pork from being too rich, and they are delicious. These smoked salmon cucumber bites deserve the win for easiest appetizer. Put the salmon in a bowl and mix in the soy sauce and togarashi seasoning. Give that a good stir. Now we can slice the cucumber. Keep the skin on for more color and texture. Slice the cucumbers to about 1/8 inch thick like this. For the avocado dressing, blend together 1/2 an avocado, mayo, cilantro, lime juice, and salt. Just put it in a little baggie and we'll cut the end off, and then we'll be able to use it kind of like a piping bag. To assemble these, swirl some of that avocado mayo onto the cucumber, then top it with a spoonful of the marinated salmon. Finish with a few microgreens or baby herbs for that final chefy touch.
We always serve potato salad. It's a staple in our family, but these little bites are actually easier to eat, and they take up the perfect amount of space on your already loaded food plate. Your guests are gonna love you for that. Start out by cooking your potatoes. These are baby red potatoes, and they take about 12 minutes to cook through. Drain them when they're done. You don't want to play hot potato, trust me, so let them cool before you slice them in half. I'm going to chop up the last 2 and put them in the bowl to make the potato salad. Scoop the insides out of the rest. Slice a bit off the bottom so that they sit flat, and then put them on your serving platter. Now you have a bowl of potatoes to work with, so add the mayo, mustard, pickles, pickle juice, salt and pepper, and stir it all up. You want to add the chopped eggs at the end so that they don't get too broken up. Stuff each of the potato shells with the salad. Then garnish them all with paprika and parsley. See? Bite-sized potato salad. It's definitely the way to go. All that delicious potato salad flavor in a teeny tiny package. You won't overload your plate. It's only 1 or 2 bites. And you can definitely go back for seconds. These bacon jalapeno popper bites are probably the easiest appetizer we've ever made on our channel. They only take a few minutes to make, which is way faster than making actual jalapeno poppers, but they have the same great flavors in one tiny little package. I usually plan to make way more of these than I actually need because the first tray is gone in minutes. Be sure to set the cream cheese out so that it can soften. Add the chives, jalapenos, bacon, and cheeses. Mix it all together. Now just spoon the mixture into the tortilla cups. And we're gonna bake this for about 8 minutes until the cheese is hot and bubbly. All right. See, in just 8 minutes, they're all done and ready to go. The cheese is melted and bubbly, and you have the jalapeno and the bacon in there and the chips for crunch. What's not to love? Ooh, hot. Oh. These are better than jalapeno poppers if you ask me. If you've never paired shrimp with pineapple, you're in for a treat. I'm using a large shrimp today. This is about a 16 to 20. You can use whatever size you like. Just make sure to cut your pineapple about the same size. You want them to be similar. Season both with salt and pepper. Rub some oil on your grill to keep anything from sticking. Then heat it up to high heat. Add the shrimp and the pineapple. Cook it for about 1 minute per side. The pineapple you can flip a few times to get grill marks on each side. Then take them off. You don't want to overcook the shrimp. Grab a skewer and put them together. They look great on a serving platter. You can season these with a little extra salt and pepper if you think they're gonna need them. But now is the best part. Let's give it a try. You can season these with a little extra salt and pepper if you think they're gonna need them. But now it's time for the best part. Let's give it a try. You know, the flavor is incredible. That char really lends a lot. You've got to have deviled eggs at every party, but we're not just talking the boring kind. These Bloody Mary deviled eggs take it to the next level with tons of flavor and crunch. First, boil the eggs, cool them, and peel them. Then cut them in half. Remove the yolks and combine them in a bowl with the mayo, tomato paste, lemon juice, Worcestershire sauce, and celery salt. Mash it up until it's smooth. You can also put this in a food processor if you want it extra smooth. Transfer the mixture to a pastry bag with a small star tip. Pour the Old Bay seasoning onto a plate and dip the eggs into the seasoning. Pipe the filling into each egg, then top with a pickle, bacon piece, and celery leaves. Aren't those awesome?
I think sushi cups are the perfect fancy appetizer. They look really impressive, but they're actually super simple to make, and you can eat them with your hands. Start by rinsing 1 cup of sushi rice in cold water about 3 or 4 times. It doesn't have to run completely clear. This just gets rid of some of the excess starch so the rice isn't sticky or mushy. Now we're gonna cook the rice according to the package directions. I cook mine 1 cup of rice to 1 1/4 cups of water for 15 minutes on a low simmer, then 10 minutes sitting off the heat. Okay, I think the rice has cooled down enough now. I'm just gonna add 1 tablespoon of seasoned rice vinegar right over there, drizzle it on. And then we're gonna use a wooden spoon to sort of cut it in. You're not really stirring it here as much as sort of just cutting through it. This helps mix it without making it gummy. I'll set this aside for now and we can season the salmon. I'm using a 3-ounce fillet of salmon. Season it on both sides with salt and pepper. All right, we're gonna cook the salmon on medium-low heat for about 5 to 6 minutes until it reaches 125 degrees Fahrenheit. We wanna cook this low and slow so that it doesn't overcook and become dry and crumbly. Grab your rice and a mini muffin tin like this. I'm using a silicone one. It makes it really easy to pop the rice cups out. Press about 2 tablespoons of rice into a mini muffin tin cup. Really pack it down so that the cups will hold their shape. Once you've finished them all, you can put them in the fridge for about 20 minutes to set up. That'll keep them from falling apart. While everything's still chilling, it's a great time to mix up this sauce. You just need some mayo, sriracha, and soy sauce. Mix it up well. This is the creamy, spicy topping you're gonna wanna drizzle all over everything. I like to spoon it into a little squeeze bottle so that I can just drizzle it over the top of the sushi cup. All right, the rice cakes are firmed up. You need to make a small indentation in the cups to hold the toppings. Use your thumb or find something flat and press down firmly. Dipping it in water will keep it from sticking. I'm just gonna take these out. They should pop right out if you're using a silicone muffin tin. This is where it all comes together. Fill each cup with a couple of edamames, cucumber, and avocado. Then add the salmon. Drizzle over that sriracha mayo. And then to finish it off, I'm gonna sprinkle it with a little bit of furikake. This is a really delicious Japanese seasoning with some sesame seeds and a little bit of seaweed. And this is just gonna give it that perfect last sushi finish. They're like a little sushi roll. So addictive and very easy to eat.
Next up are these delicious apple and brie puff pastry bites. These are the reason they made puff pastry. They're so good. Let's make them. Start by rolling out the pastry. You just need to cut this into squares. Place the squares on a baking sheet covered with parchment paper. Add a slice of brie to the center, then add 2 apple slices. Make sure they're really thin. Now for a drizzle of honey. Don't be stingy, it needs a lot. And finally top it off with a little sprig of thyme. Time to get these beauties in the oven. They're gonna cook at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for about 15 to 20 minutes, but make sure to keep an eye on them and take them out when they're golden brown. See what I mean about the puff pastry? It's so light and fluffy. I love the apple and brie combo in these. It's so good. You know, you could change this and do any combination you want. Make them new every time.
These prosciutto and ricotta crostini are so easy to put together, and they really make a statement as a party appetizer. Once you've sliced your baguette, you can toast it in the oven or the air fryer until it's crispy. Drizzle the crostini with olive oil. Now you can spread a light layer of the ricotta onto each of those crostinis. Season them with some salt and pepper to give lots of good flavor. Now layer on about 1/4 of a slice of the prosciutto and drizzle on that balsamic glaze. Garnish each crostini with a small basil leaf and you're all done. All right, the only thing left to do is try one. You don't have to tell me twice. I love the balsamic glaze. These are so crunchy and delicious.
These mini ham and cheese quiches are the perfect finger food for just about any party. You could be really creative here too. Use any fillings you have handy. I'm making just a traditional ham and cheese today because that tends to be everyone's favorite. Start by greasing a muffin tin. Unroll the dough and cut them into 12 rounds with a 2.5-inch biscuit cutter or a cup if you don't have one. Press each of the rounds into the wells of the tin. Now in a bowl, mix the egg, milk, salt, pepper, cheese, and ham. Pour that into the cups and fill them up. Time to put these in the oven. They need about 20 to 25 minutes at 375 degrees Fahrenheit. I love these little mini quiches for an Easter dinner. You can take them as an appetizer, or if you're having a potluck, they're great for that too. Ham and cheese is definitely the way to go. It's a perfect little bite, cheesy and savory.
Our next appetizer today is a whipped pea puree crostini with prosciutto. These are so simple to make and really delicious. First, we're gonna cook the peas. I'm boiling them in a vegetable broth. You could also use chicken broth or just water if you want. When they're done, scoop out a little bit of that broth just in case you need it to make the puree smoother. Then you can drain the peas into a colander. You can puree the peas in a mini chopper like this one, or in a food processor or a blender, doesn't really matter. Just add the peas in there. Oop, got a couple of escapees. Put those back in. A little bit of salt and a couple of leaves of mint. Puree them as much as you want. I like mine a little in between. You can add some more broth in case you need to make it smoother. For the crostini, you just need to slice a baguette into 1/2-inch slices. Then you can either bake or air fry them. They take about 10 minutes in the oven at 375 degrees or about 3 minutes in the air fryer. Once they're done, set them out on your platter and drizzle them with a little bit of olive oil. Extra flavor, right? Top each of the crostini with the pea puree. To finish these up, I'm going to top them each with a little piece of prosciutto and a mint leaf and a little bit of black pepper, some red pepper flakes too if you like. It's really fresh. These are a great appetizer for Easter or spring too, so keep them on your list. Who would have thought? Pea puree.
Next up is an amazing mini beef and potato pie. To start, we're going to add some oil to the pan, and once it's hot, add the onions and let those saute for just a few minutes. Then you can add the beef. Make sure it's cut into little chunks so it'll cook faster. Then add the flour in and whisk it until the flour isn't dry anymore. Let that cook for about a minute. Next, we'll whisk in the beef stock. You can use stock or make your own bouillon with water and cubes. Deglaze the pot to get all the brown bits up. Now you can add the potatoes, carrots, Worcestershire sauce, salt, and pepper. Give it a good stir. Lower the heat to medium and cover the pot. We're going to let this cook for about 20 minutes. After 20 minutes, we can take a peek. Oh, doesn't that look delicious? Since the meat was cubed really small, it's already fork tender. The last step in making the beef filling is to add the peas. They're frozen, so we're going to let them simmer here for about 5 minutes. While that's going, you can spray your muffin tin. For the crusts, we're using pre-made pie dough, but you can make your own if you want. Cut it into 6 squares. Press 1 dough square into each of the wells. Make sure they're pushed all the way down into the bottom. Fill them up with the beef mixture and get an even amount in each one. Now we can get these into the oven. We're baking them at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for about 15 minutes. 15 minutes later, we can take them out. Look how nice and golden brown they are around the edges. That's how you know that the pie crust is done underneath. All right, let's give these cute little pies a try. I'm just gonna dive right in. I think this might be my favorite way to eat pie. These can be served hot or cold. Trust me, they're great either way.
These loaded potato bites are one of my favorite little appetizers, and they'll be a guest favorite too. We're gonna start by heating some water with some salt until it's boiling. Then we can drop in the potatoes. It's gonna take about 12 minutes for those to cook, depending on the size. When they're done, you can drain them into a colander and then let them sit there for a few minutes so that they can cool off. We're not trying to play hot potato here, so wait until they're cool enough to slice them in half. I like to cut off a little bit of the bottom too, so that they're standing up on the tray. Now you can scoop the insides out. If you have a little spoon or a knife that you can run around the edge, that's the easiest way. I don't think they need to be perfect, just get in there and scoop it out. I think there's probably enough here. Now we can add the crumbled bacon, cheese, and melted butter, and stir that all up. You'll want to taste the filling to make sure that it's well seasoned. Salt will make these bites taste so much better. So you'll want to give it a taste and just add as much salt as you think it needs. You can also salt the potatoes to give them a little bit of extra flavor. Spread the filling out amongst the potatoes. Just mounding it up a little bit helps to keep it all together. Don't worry, they'll all get enough in the end. Now you can set them all on a baking sheet. See how great they stand up? We're gonna bake these for about 10 to 12 minutes at 400 degrees Fahrenheit, that's 200 degrees Celsius. You'll know they're done when the tops get a little golden and crispy. All right, let's try one. I like to serve these with a little bit of sour cream on top and some chives. It's nice if you can serve them hot, but they're good cold too. The best part about these little potatoes are how moist and squishy the inside of the potato gets, but how crunchy they are on the outside. They're delicious.
A Reuben sandwich can be kind of messy to eat, but these little Reuben bites are perfect. No mess, even though they're piled up with the same great ingredients. I've got my leftover corned beef, or you can just use pastrami from the deli. Either way, it's gonna taste great. Cut each slice of bread into 8 pieces. If you want a bigger bite, you can just do 6 or 4 pieces. Cut the Swiss cheese slices into 4 pieces each. Cut the corned beef or pastrami into squares. Spread some of the Thousand Island dressing onto the bread and place them on your baking sheet. Add the corned beef and the cheese slices on top. Finish with a spoonful of sauerkraut. All right, we're ready to get these in the oven. We're gonna bake them for 6 to 8 minutes at 375 degrees Fahrenheit until the cheese is melted. Okay, the only thing left to do is put on the Thousand Island dressing. I just use a teaspoon and put a little dollop on each one. And of course, try one. Yep, just as good as a Reuben sandwich. And I'm getting on my shirt. You have to try these. Our absolute favorite appetizer to serve are these adorable little Chicago dogs. We're using store-bought dough for these. Any roll dough will work. Half each one and roll it into an oblong shape. Spread some poppy seeds on a plate and roll the tops of the dough in the seeds. Place them onto a greased pan. Cover and let them rise in a warm place until doubled. It'll take about 30 minutes. Place the sausage in a baking dish. When the dough is risen, place both the rolls and the sausages in the oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 minutes. Once cooled, slice the rolls down the middle. Place a sausage in each and top it with mustard, relish, onion, tomato, pickle, pepperoni, and a sprinkle of celery salt. I guarantee these won't last long. If you're a fan of a BLT, you're going to love these little bacon bites with crunchy lettuce and tomatoes. Start by cooking the bacon until just crispy. Don't overdo it or they won't fold over. Once they've cooled, cut each strip into 3 pieces. Cut the romaine leaves into 1-inch squares. We prefer to use the crispiest pieces. To assemble the bites, spread some mayo on a bacon strip. Top it with romaine lettuce and a cherry tomato. Push a toothpick through one side of the bacon, through the tomato, and out the other side to hold it all together. Rinse and repeat until they're all done. Arrange them on a serving platter and serve them cold. These will be the best thing on the table, so make enough to go around. These mini pizzas are made with just 5 ingredients, and they get gobbled up in seconds. We use store-bought pizza dough to make these super easy. Find a cup that's the right size to cut circles that fit inside the muffin tin. Lightly grease the tin, then place the dough circles into each well. Spoon on the sauce, then the cheese and pepperoni. Bake it for 10 minutes until it's golden brown and the cheese is melted. Don't forget to keep one for yourself. These dirty martini deviled eggs are exactly what they sound like. Classic deviled egg goodness with a boozy little twist. Start by peeling 6 hard-boiled eggs. I like to start these off in cold water and cook them for 12 minutes. And then I put them in an ice bath for 12 more minutes. Slice them in half lengthwise. Pop the yolks into a bowl and set the whites aside. To the yolks, add mayo, a splash of gin, yes gin, olive brine, and garlic powder. Season it with some salt and pepper. Then mash it up until it's smooth. I'm also going to add some chopped green olives and some parsley. These add tons of flavor and a little bit of texture to the mix. Spoon or pipe the filling back into the egg whites. Top each egg with a green olive and a little cracked black pepper for good measure. They're basically cocktail hour in a bite. I really like this variation of a classic deviled egg. As soon as you try them, you'll see why.
I love tacos in any form, and these Party Perfect mini taco cups are always a crowd pleaser. Brown the meat and drain the grease. Then stir in the taco seasoning. Chop up some tomatoes and cilantro. I'm using store-bought pastry shells to make it easy. Fill them with some cheese, meat, tomatoes, and cilantro. Add a little dollop of sour cream if you like. I guarantee these won't last long. This simple and quick chocolate mousse is the dessert I always make for parties. Pour in 2 cups of heavy whipping cream, then whip it on low just until that it starts to thicken. I'm using my Zacme 8.4 quart stand mixer. It is perfect to help me make a quick mousse like this, and it keeps my arm from falling off from all the whisking. Now I'm sifting half a cup of Dutch processed cocoa powder and about 3/4 cup of powdered sugar, and we're gonna put those right into the whipping cream. Whisk it on low just until everything starts to come together. I always stop it here and scrape down the sides just so that we don't leave anybody behind. Then turn it up until you get just past stiff peaks. It should be nice and thick, but don't over whisk it or it's going to turn into chocolate butter. This is the quickest, most delicious mousse you can make in under 10 minutes, guaranteed.
Well, there you have it. 6 appetizers that absolutely will not last the night.
But don't lose momentum, hop right over to our other video with 25 no-cook appetizers that are great for any party.